Hello and welcome to the American Grand Prix here in America. Obviously, we are around the world famous Indianapolis Grand Prix circuit here in America. Now, Ralf Schumacher is leading the championship, but he's qualified quite a bit down in eighth place with his Arrows teammate in 7th. And away we go. It's a very quick start. Not even any lights or anything, and there is the Toyota coming down into the first corner. It's all line astern behind them. Is anyone going to outbrake anyone? No. Oh, it looked like a Jordan was trying to outbrake loads of people back there. Mika Salo keeps hold of the lead as we have a replay of this is Fisichella. And that was Button that had a fantastic start by the looks of it. Now, what's Fisichella going to do at this turn? The answer is not much, but we did see the replay of Button going through Ralf Schumacher and Burti, both in that corner. It's a very good start for the Jordan, as we have Salo and Della Rosa in 1-2, with Fernando Alonso in 3rd in the other Toyota, as they go down towards the tight hairpins on this circuit. And there's Barrichello, Schumacher in 5th place in the other Ferrari, with 6th place being occupied by Frentzen in the Arrows, who had a poor race last race. The Button, fantastic start for the Jordan, 7th place, with Burti following suit in 8th, with Ralf Schumacher in 9th place in the other Arrows, with Panis in the last point position in the BAR as they go around the banked corner down towards the pitch straight of the famous Brickyard, and that is the first lap completed with David Coulthard in 12th place, Trulli in the other Jordan in 13th, 14th place is Takuma Sato in the first of Bernardis, 15th place is Pedro Diniz, with 16th place being Mika Hakkinen. 17th place is currently Alex Young in the other Minardi, with both of the Saubers quite far back, Webber in 18th, with Raikkonen in 19th, and it is Jean Alesi occupying last place like he did in Britain, and that's an overtake it looks like. The Minardi getting past the McLaren. It's Young on Hakkinen, as we go back on board with the race leader of Mika Salo in the Toyota in 1st place as they go towards the banked part of the circuit, and they're on the banking round the long corner and down the pitch straight. It's a 7/10th lead. It's an 8/10th lead, sorry, that they've got all the top 10 covered by 7 seconds. It's a very short circuit. It's going to be quite a short race, especially if they do 26 laps in 1 minute 14. Probably going to be about a 30-minute race, as Jean Alesi 17 seconds behind the leader already in the Renault, but there's no surprises there. Jean Alesi got a point last race. It was a very good drive from him, and that's Della Rosa having a look, showing his presence to Mika Salo. And we are on board with Barrichello, Schumacher, Michael Schumacher in 5th place, with Heinz-Harald Frentzen in 6th behind him. It's a poor showing so far from the Arrows, especially with how their season's been going so far. 6th and 8th is 6th and 9th is certainly what they weren't hoping for. As we go on board with Button, still in 7th place in the Jordans. A very strong start for the Jordan team as they go down the main straight at Indianapolis. And that's around the first chicane. There's Burti, there's Ralf Schumacher in the Arrows, 9th place currently for the German. 10th place is Panis in the BAR, currently holding on to the last points. He's pretty much in the middle of nowhere at the moment, a second either way, with Fisichella in 11th place in the Renault, and 12th place is being occupied by David Coulthard, the highest place that the McLaren has been this season. Trulli 13th in the Jordan, his teammate quite high up, remember. Takuma Sato's in 14th place in the Minardi, Diniz in 15th. All of these are behind Trulli, quite close to each other these are, with Young in 16th, and Hakkinen is already 9 seconds back from these lots, lapping quite slowly and holding up the Saubers, it seems, which is not going to do the Saubers any good, especially with how their race pace has been so far this season. As we've got Raikkonen behind Webber and Hakkinen, well, Lacey also. All of these are following each other. Is Webber going to have an opportunity of passing Hakkinen? He's slowly gaining, but I think he'll be too far back to make an overtake, or he's actually side by side with Mika Hakkinen, but he's not going to be able to do it around the outside of turn 2. Turn 3 and 4 now, and Webber's still hassling Hakkinen as they go around this section. Lacey was actually quite close to Raikkonen, it seemed. There's 2 Saubers being held up, we'd say, by Hakkinen, who held up so many people in Hungary with his not getting out of the way. He's now not making any more friends, as Webber has another look down the inside of Hakkinen, and we go on board with Diniz, who is quite slow in the BAR. It looks to be trundling back into the pits, is the BAR of Diniz. Now what's the problem here? To go around the bank section is very, very slow. Might be stuck in first gear. And into the pits he goes. And is he going into retirement? He is. Diniz becomes the first retirement of the American Grand Prix. First place Salo. De La Rosa another look down the inside of the fin, but Salo keeps hold of first position. De La Rosa is currently in second place, still in the Jaguar. Second place, De La Rosa, looking for his first win of the season. Burti that won the second race this season. Salo who won the first race, and that is Alonso hunting down De La Rosa. It's the Jaguars that are currently leading the Constructors' Championship. About, I think, they were 2 or 3 points ahead of the Arrows team. But the Arrows are leading, and that is Sato going into the pits. Is this for a planned stop? It most certainly is. It's a planned stop for the Minardi team, changing all 4 Michelin tyres. And away goes Sato's 8.4 second stop for the Japanese driver. He's going to venture out in last place, quite a distance away from Hakkinen, luckily, but it's only 4 seconds of clear air is Sato going to get, as I think that's one of the Saubers actually not in there. So Webber has passed, and look how far down the road Webber is compared to Raikkonen. And Raikkonen is being hassled again by a Lacey. Lacey stays behind, but there's Hakkinen. He's already 4 seconds down on Webber, holding all these guys up like a treat for the rest of the field. The top 5 separated by 3 seconds. Frentzen 7 seconds back, with Button, Burti and Ralf Schumacher all line astern. Fisichella and Coulthard 13th, 14th. So Coulthard's having quite a decent run. There's Trulli in 12th place. And Young in 13th in the Minardi. Malaysian run Minardi, that's why Young is in the team. There's Fisichella. There is Ralf Schumacher being dropped a little bit by the Button-Burti battle. There's Burti trying to get past Button. It was a strong starting Button this was, but There's nothing doing there. There's Button going down the back straight. There's Burti having a look down the inside of Button. Frentzen keeping the gap of 2 seconds to these lots in 6th place, but the Arrows is losing time still to the top 5. There is Frentzen in the Arrows going round the banked corner now. There is the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher, 5th place currently, but you can still see the leader of Mika Salo in the distance, with Barrichello 4th place in the other Ferrari. There's Alonso 3rd place for Toyota, 2nd place of Della Rosa, with the leader currently being Mika Salo still in the other Toyota, hunting for his 2nd victory of this season. Already gone through 9 laps. This race is going to be over quite quickly, and it looks like the Toyota team are getting ready for a stop. It's going to be for one of the Salo or Alonso boys, obviously, because those are the drivers that race for Toyota, as they go round the hairpins. Della Rosa 2nd place still. Both of these half dropping Alonso now, and it looks like it's going to be Alonso going into the pits for his first stop of the afternoon. Round this unique pit lane, that looked like Schumacher as well going into the pits. No, sorry, it was Barrichello going into the pits. It looks like an Arrows is ready as well for some action, and probably going to be Ralf Schumacher in the Arrows. There goes Alonso, 6.9. There's Ralf Schumacher in the Arrows, and Alonso is away now onto the pit straight that they use at IndyCar, and down back onto the track is a very nice gap that he's come out in. He's back out in 10th place, with Trulli the only person really in front of him causing any trouble. There's Coulthard in 8th place in the McLaren, with Fisichella directly in front. And Burti is 4 seconds down the road. He's still being held up by Button. This might give Ralf Schumacher an advantage. He'd be able to be quicker than Button and Burti currently. So this might help his cause, as the Jordan looks like he's about to go into the pits, and it is the Jordan of Button. So Burti has been released now. There goes the Jordan into the pits. He goes, the lovely yellow cars of the Jordan with the yellow pit crew. Easily able to see. There's Trulli gone down, and there goes the Alonso, and there's Barrichello. Coulthard is also into the pits. Now where is Ralf Schumacher? Looks like Button is going to end up in front of Ralf Schumacher. 2 seconds, and yes, Button is still in front of Ralf Schumacher, so he couldn't capitalise. But these lot now have clear air. Barrichello in 9th place also has clear air. There's Alonso in 8th place. Della Rosa in 7th. He's come out, but he's come out behind Trulli in the Jordan. He's going to catch up. These lot are going to catch up to Trulli before the Jordan pits. Fisichella in 5th place. He's looking ready to pit. Burti in 4th place. He doesn't look ready to pit. Frentzen currently in 3rd place. He looks ready to pit in the Arrows. There's Schumacher going into the pits, and Salo also going into the pits for his first stop. The leader going in. Schumacher currently in 2nd place going in. 3rd place of the Arrows going in as well. And Salo is being held up. Salo got held up by Frentzen. It might be a change for the lead as Salo comes down pit lane. That was the Jaguar you saw in the background. There's the Ferrari. See how close the Ferrari's gotten to Salo. And that is Trulli. And there's Della Rosa going down the inside of Salo. And Della Rosa takes the lead of the American Grand Prix. Salo being held up by the Arrows of Frentzen doesn't help the Finn, and De La Rosa takes the lead. But all these are still behind Trulli in the Trulli train, shall we say, for the first time this season, as Burti currently leads by 12 seconds. But of course he's yet to pit. He's going to pit at the end of this lap. There's a Lazy in front, and Burti is now rounding off the second to last corner, turn 12, and into the pits Burti goes. He's cutting it very close on the fuel, is Burti, and into pit lane he goes now, and it's 100 kilometers an hour down this pit lane, and into his stop he goes. Trulli is into the pit lane as well, so Burti is going to relinquish his lead, obviously. De La Rosa going into the lead. Salo, Schumacher, Barrichello all going past. Trulli's not going to get past because Trulli's are currently in the pits. Now is Burti going to get past Frentzen here? He's obviously slower, though Frentzen is past. But Button is behind the Brazilian. So Burti is now in 7th place in the Jaguar. But there is still 13 laps to go of this American Grand Prix. Anything can happen. But De La Rosa now leads the group of 5 cars, Salo and Alonso in this queue, as well as the 2 Ferraris in this queue as well, as the Toyota of Alonso rounds the hairpin and into the not penultimate corner, because I don't know what the corner like that is called. This is the penultimate corner, as they go back onto the banking, back onto the proper track of Indy, round the 12-degree banking, as that is Frentzen. Thought he was going into the pits there, but he's not. He's going around the banking as well, with Burti following him behind. Burti's not close enough to have a go at the German in the arrows. There's Button in 8th place. He's got Ralf Schumacher for company. 4 tenths behind is the German, with Panis still behind these lot as well. 7 tenths is the gap. Schumacher cutting the corner a little bit, but we'll let it lie a little. We're cutting some slack. He's a championship leader. He's probably going to lose it. Panis in 10th place. Top 10 look pretty secure for these guys, because Fisichella is currently 3 seconds back from these lot. And there is Coulthard, 12th place in the McLarens, the British Scotsman, heading for his best result this season. Young in 13th is a disappointing day currently for the Minardi team. Score points in every single race so far, the Minardis, but I don't think they're going to score this race. Trulli, 14th place for the Jordan. He looks like he's not going to score any points, but his teammate Button looks like he will. There's Webber in 15th place. He doesn't need to make a pit stop anymore. So does Raikkonen. He doesn't need to make a pit stop. They've all got Hakkinen for company, both of them. In fact, Raikkonen has not pitted yet, and neither has Raikkonen. So Raikkonen has only just passed Hakkinen, but Sato is still behind Hakkinen, and not being caught by a Lazy, because a Lazy was caught by Hakkinen, and Sato has just inadvertently taken Hakkinen out. It's a little bit naughty by the Japanese driver, taking precaution to his own hands of passing Hakkinen. But Mika Hakkinen is quite slow. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't surprise me that Sato tried to take him out. But alas, Hakkinen is going into the pits, and is probably going to get passed by a Lazy as well. So Hakkinen will come back in 19th place as they go into the pit box now, and he's being serviced. The change of the 4 Bridgestone tyres on the McLaren, and away he goes. Looks like a Saubert's getting ready for a pit. It's going to be for Raikkonen, because he's the only person not pitted now in the field, and he'll be going to the end. And Hakkinen is going to come out. Is he going to come out behind in front of Barrichello? The answer is yes. Hakkinen is in front of Barrichello, because that's going to please the Brazilian. De La Rosa currently leads the American Grand Prix, 4 tenths from Salo, so he's not pulling away from the Toyota Salo. which you would have possibly thought he might. He looked quick in the first stint. He looked like he was trying to pass Salo, but it turns out that they're lapping at relatively the same pace. There's Alonso in third place. He's within a second of these lots. Going around the 2 hairpins, and that is Raikkonen being serviced in the Sauber pits. 4 Bridgestone tyres going onto that car, and away goes Raikkonen. 8.9 second pit stop for the Finn, and he's going to come out plenty clear of Hakkinen in the McLaren. 7 seconds is the gap currently, and that is Michael Schumacher for company, and Hakkinen is behind as Burti has a look down the inside of Frentzen, and that is Burti. Looks like with a problem. He's nowhere near close enough to Frentzen, and it looks like the Burti is in trouble here. Button is quickly catching Burti at the hairpin. He's been very slow, Burti. It might be a gearbox problem. And there goes Burti down the order. Now Ralf Schumacher hasn't passed Burti yet. He's given Button a chance. There's Ralf Schumacher ahead of Burti. Panis held up by Burti now. It looks like Burti is stuck in gear. Hearing reports that he's stuck in 7th gear. Is the Jaguar of Burti, and oh, that's Panis. Panis has just crashed into the back of Burti, and has both the cars out on the spot. Burti was going to retire anyway, but Panis has just eased the pain very quickly, and that is Burti and Panis both out of the American Grand Prix. We have a replay here of Panis being stuck behind the Jaguar as they go round the hairpins. There's going around the other hairpin. Maybe Panis didn't realise that Burti had a problem. You can see how bad Burti's acceleration was, and then Panis just inadvertently drove straight into the back of him. There's Fisichella. He inherits 9th place. Coulthard also inherits 10th place, and that is a smoking Jaguar of De La Rosa, with smoke pouring down the pit straight. It looks to me like both Jaguars are going to retire from this race. It's a very ill Jaguar there. Let's go back on board with the Jaguar. Or is that Alonso? There's definitely some smoke coming out of one of the cars. It is the Jaguar of De La Rosa. And there it goes. Oh, that's Alonso crashed into the back of him. And Michael Schumacher. Both drivers have crashed into De La Rosa. The engine has let go ferociously. And De La Rosa, Alonso unsighted. And that is the Toyota out on the spot. And Michael Schumacher could not get out of De La Rosa's way. And that's him out of the race as well. There's Alonso. Hopefully he's alright. And that was Barrichello slowing down as well a little bit. But that's 3 cars out on the spot. Alonso, Schumacher and De La Rosa. There is Frentzen. He inherits, I think, 4th place. There's Salo. He now has a huge lead over Barrichello. 7 seconds is the gap. Both Jaguars out, so they're easily going to lose the lead of the championship. There's Barrichello in 2nd. Frentzen is indeed in 3rd place for the Arrows. There he is. He's got the 5-second lead over Button in the Jordan. Surprisingly in 4th place. It also hits the other Arrows into 5th place of Ralf Schumacher. So the 2 Arrows looking like they'll get plenty of points. They'll probably take the lead of the championship if it stays like this. And there's Fisichella in 6th place. He's going to score points for the Renault. So first points for Renault if it stays like this. Coulthard in 7th place in the McLaren. He's going to score points if it stays like this. So is Jordan. So all 3 cars that haven't scored points are going to score points. Young looks like he's going to score more points than the Minardi, but he's quite far back. And if going through the chicanes, Webber catching up to Young. And after all that, the Sauber of Webber is in 10th place now, holding on to a point. Lazy in 11th, he was quite far down the order. Sato in 12th place in the Minardi, they're all starting the 19th lap. And there's Raikkonen in 13th place in the other Sauber, who is looking like a lost cause for the points, and Hakkinen in 14th place. So we've had 6 retirements now. Both the Jaguars going out with mechanical problems. There's Schumacher. He was part of one. De La Rosa was another part. He had an engine failure. Alonso in 17th, drove unsighted by the slow Jaguar. Burti in Panis, both BARs out as well. So it's not a good day for BAR, who of course haven't scored points this season, as Salo overtakes Jean Alesi. Of course, BAR have not scored points this season, so they're going to be the only team now to not score points. As Alesi is racing Salo, going round the banked corner. Alesi in the Renault is weaving left and right to pass the Toyota. Is Alesi going to... Surely not. No. Alesi has gone straight back behind. There's Frentzen in 2nd place now. So that means that Barrichello has pitted, I presume. Frentzen in 2nd place. There's Button, 3rd place in the Jordan. We wouldn't be saying that after the previous 2 races. Fisichella in 4th place after a few stoppers. And there's Barrichello in 5th place. There's Hakkinen directly behind. He managed to avoid Hakkinen. Trulli's currently in 6th place in the Jordan. They're having a good race as the Jordans are. A little bit lucky. There's Ralf Schumacher coming out of the pits in 7th place in the Arrows. He might keep hold of the championship lead. Not too sure yet. Coulthard in 8th place in the McLaren. He's just come out of the pits. It's looking good for the McLaren for their first points of the season. Young 9th place in the Minardi, as he goes around turns 3 and 4 in the Minardi. Obviously, there's Mika Salo going into the pits, as well as Jean Alesi. Both of them going into the pits for the 2nd time and the final time. And Salo comes out of the pits. Pretty routine stop there from the Toyota team, as Alesi comes out, and that was Frentzen coming into the pits. I believe he's the only person to get to pits for the 2nd time this race, and Salo comes out of the pits in pretty much clear air, with only Button in front, who is yet to pit. In the Jordan, there is Button leading the American Grand Prix in the Jordan, which is quite the remarkable achievement. And we have a replay of Barrichello going into the section, and he has crashed out of the American Grand Prix. Looks like possibly brake failure. Hakkinen's just drove into him. Of course he has. And Trulli has pushed him out of the way. Good job there by the Italian. But Barrichello is now out of the American Grand Prix, so that's both Ferraris out. It also promotes Frentzen into 2nd place, as we have a replay of Young here in the Minardi. Is he going to do some theatrics? No, he is just going to stop out on circuit, so he becomes another retirement. So we have 12 runners left, and there is Barrichello, and there's Button currently leading. He's going to inherit 3rd place for the Jordan. Yeah, exactly, 3rd place for the Jordan. But he's currently leading this American Grand Prix, but obviously he's yet to make a pit stop, and he's going to do it at the end of this lap. So the running order will be pretty much back to normal for this race. Mika Salo will inherit the lead back from Button. There he goes. Fisichella currently in second place, but obviously he needs to make a pit stop, which he is doing now. Nope, is that Fisichella in the pits? I don't think Fisichella made the pits. I think Fisichella's retired. I think Fisichella's in that wall. There's Trulli, there's Frentzen. Trulli needs to make a pit stop as well. Yep, that was Fisichella in the wall. So, what was looking like very good points for Fisichella has turned out to be 0 points for Fisichella. And Button is feeding back out in 4th place for the Jordan. There is Frentzen with Trulli directly in front. This is 4th position currently. Trulli is in 2nd place. There's Salo in the Toyota. We have a replay of what happened to Fisichella. He's going round the pit lane entrance and he's just parked it on the side of the pit lane. So that must be a mechanical failure. There'd be no other reason why he's just parked it before his pit stop, but that is rather unfortunate. He didn't even make it to his pit. As we go back on board with Salo in the Toyota, he's going down the pit straight now to start his 24th lap. Trulli in 2nd place in the Jordan, and directly behind him is the arrows of Heinz-Harald Frentzen, as Trulli carries on for one more lap. There's Frentzen 3rd place in the arrows. 5 seconds the gap between Frentzen and Button directly behind, as Frentzen has a little look at Trulli's inside. There's Button 4th place in the Jordan. He has Ralf Schumacher for company, a second behind the Brit. Ralf Schumacher, the German, in 5th place currently, which will keep him in the lead of the championship as things stand. Coulthard is in 6th place in the McLaren, with 7th place being Webber in the Sauber. There he is. Sato is going to be in 8th place for the first of the Minardis. 8th place. But he is currently 18 seconds behind Webber, which isn't really that good. But he's 8 seconds in front of Raikkonen, which is okay. And Alazer is in 10th place. He's going to get 1 solitary point for all his troubles this race. But at least he can take gratitude in the fact that he is in front of Hakkinen, who's 20 seconds back, is in last place, which is 11th place, which meaning there's 9 retirements. There's Trulli into the pits finally. He's going to drop down the order, but where's he going to come back out? There was the Sauber of, I think, Webber. It was indeed Webber, and Trulli's going to end up behind Webber. So Trulli comes back out in 7th place in the Jordan, with Mark Webber 6th place in the Sauber. So that's probably going to be the finishing order of this race. Webber 6th, 5th place, I don't know. Coulthard is in 5th place, which is surprising because the McLarens were woeful in the first 2 races, so they'll be happy with 5th place. Coulthard has just lapped his teammate of Hakkinen. 4th place currently for Ralf Schumacher, who is still trying to catch up with Button as they start the final lap of the American Grand Prix. There's 4 attempts between Button and Ralf Schumacher. This is for the final podium position. Ralf Schumacher had a little look down the inside, and out to chicane there's line astern, Button and Ralf Schumacher going round turn 4 into the fast turn 5 flat out. In turn 6 is another sort of hairpin, and that's Mark Webber on fire. Mark Webber is on fire currently. Black smoke coming out the back of that Salo, but that's Webber out. Oh, that's Webber out the race, meaning that Hakkinen is going to be in 10th place, I think. And that's Mika Salo wins the American Grand Prix for Toyota. It's its second victory of the season. But the fight is for 3rd place, and it looks like Ralf Schumacher is going to have to make do with 4th place, as Frentzen is about to cross the line, we presume, to finish in 2nd place. There is the arrows. Button in 3rd place with Ralf Schumacher in 4th. It's a very good result for the Arrows team, especially after where they qualified. They managed to drive around the mess that happened up front. That happened with De La Rosa and Ferrari and Toyota. There's Frentzen 2nd place for the Arrows team, who will take the lead of the Constructors' Championship as one of the only cars to have both cars in the points. Button 3rd place. Fantastic result for Button in the Jordan. They score their first points of the season. Ralf Schumacher directly behind Button, which will keep Ralf Schumacher in the lead of the championship, I believe, which will please the German. Coulthard, first points for McLaren in 5th place. It's a very good day for them. Trulli 6th place in the Jordan. Double point scoring finish for the Jordan team. Sato inherits 7th from Webber. And there's Raikkonen 8th place. It's still points to the Sauber team. 8th place. They were hoping for more. Mark Webber actually finishes in 9th place. He did start the final lap. There's a lazy in 10th place. And those are your point scorers. So Hakkinen still hasn't scored a point. The dumbs. Salo wins the American Grand Prix 22 seconds in front of Frentzen. Button runs off the podium 26 seconds behind the leader, with Ralf Schumacher 3/10 away from points. And the long list of retirements: Mark Webber had an engine failure, Fisichella had an electronics failure, so couldn't tell how much fuel he had left, and it turns out he ran out of fuel before he managed to get into the pit box. Barrichello and Young both had brake failures, and all the rest of them were gearbox, engine and accidents. You don't need to see all the rest of them. There's Salo. There's Salo's record. There's Frentzen's record. He had quite an eventful race. Button's record from 7th to 3rd. From the first lap in 7th. There's Ralf Schumacher, who spent most of the race in 9th place, finishes in 4th. Coulthard most of the time outside of the points and then got into the points. Trulli also outside the points most of the time. Now he's inside the points. Takuma Sato was 19th at some point and he managed to get 7th place. I don't know how. Kimi Raikkonen, another person that spent most of the time outside the points and got into the points. Mark Webber, quite a good drive for Mark Webber. Jean Alesi spent all his time at the points and then managed to get 10th place. Hakkinen, it's Hakkinen. And there's Fisichella, second retirement. Third retirement was Barrichello. And there is Young's. He became another retirement. Schumacher had an accident with De La Rosa. There's De La Rosa, he had an engine failure. There's Alonso, he had a accident with De La Rosa. 18th place is Burti, he had a gearbox failure. Panis crashed into the back of Burti. And Diniz had a gearbox failure. Thank you ever so much for watching the American Grand Prix. I have been your commentator for today. Thank you and good night.